until 2014, including this decrease of 4.2% in the next year. I already said China had a large impact on the market in the past. The Chinese dry bulk imports represent more than 17% of the global seaborne trade in bulk, and had an overproportionate growth over the past 10 years already, with sometimes more than 20%. And if we hadn't had this growth of Chinese imports, bulk imports, the total bulk market worldwide would be 12% lower than it is today. So it would be 380 million tons less than it is today. We see here especially the dry cargo, iron ore and coal, as it developed in the past for import to China. You see the major volume is iron ore, but also coal is about 50 million tons, and that is what we can see here. It's almost 18% that is China's share in the dry bulk market, according to the Clarkson Research and China Customs. This is the global steel production as it developed the past years, and the expectation for this year based on the first quarter. In the past there was an average growth until 2002-03 of about 2.5% per annum. Then China came into the market and we had a growth rate of about 8% in the steel production on a global level. This year the expectation is that there will be a decrease of 15%. In the first quarter the decrease was more than 20%. So again, here is the expectation that we will see a bottom this year in the production development, and then an increase again towards the end of the year. A little different is the development in China. You see in the first the expectation based on the first quarter is that there will still be a slight increase in the steel production in China. We have had an increase of 1.5% in the first quarter already, and comparing it with the rest of the world with more than 20%, this will lead to an steep increase in market shares in the global production of steel. Up to last year, China had a market share of about 38%, and we will reach 48% if this forecast, if this estimate of ISL will turn out true. And this, really steep development of the Chinese imports, especially this development, had one impact on the market. We had over the past years, especially then until summer last year, really many bulkers waiting. We had congestion waiting at the ports, not only in Newcastle in Australia, but also other exporting ports, especially in the iron ore and coal business, but also import ports in China, for example, where bulkers were waiting. In Newcastle there were up to 60 bulkers waiting more than 3 or 4 weeks for being loaded, and all these bulkers are in the range of Panamax and Capesize vessels. So that means that a lot of capacity was bound and not available to the market, and now these queues are reduced because of the reduced need for iron ore and demand for iron ore and coal. But at the moment there are also press notices that at grain ports in Australia there is congestion again, but this will not turn out to be so influencing for the market as it was for the bulk market. When we come to the grain market, especially the grain shipping market is not so well documented. But what I found as information I display here, the growth rate of the grain market in the past was about 2.5%, but per annum. But in this year, the expectation is from many analysts and from Drury and also Clarkson Research that we have a decrease in the grain transportation market worldwide of 4.1%. And this is in total not only for grain but also for soybeans. The main exporters for grain, the largest one is still the United States, then Canada, Australia, Argentina, and the others together make up more than 60% of the market. But you see the overall growth trend in the export of the United States is a little negative in the past years. This is 13 years here that's displayed. The same can be said for Canada, while this is stabilized during the past 5 years on a relatively high level. Then also a slight negative trend for Australia, although this will pick up this year again. And Argentina is here forecast to have a little reduced export. So the details have been better in the presentation, especially from Jay this morning. For the global grain imports, the main share is Asia, still is Asia. Then the others have lower shares, especially than Europe and the former Soviet Union picked up the last years with the volumes, or in the early 2000s picked up, and then here we have a decrease in the past years. You see Mid-East is increasing as import. South America, Central America, and Africa are the fastest growing markets in the grain import. So what I brought with me is the forecast of Global Insight on the global grain trade. We are cooperating with Global Insight, and this is an excerpt of their Global Trade Navigator, and they are forecasting the overall grain trade will grow per annum by 2.6% until 2025, based on considerations of population development, on structural changes in food consumption and so on. When we look at the major exporting countries, then we have North America as the largest one, today the largest one. This will be overtaken according to Global Insight by South America. Asia will also grow, but not as much as South America. So we have an average annual growth rate for North America forecast by Global Insight of 1.9%, South America by 3.7%, and Asia will grow in exports by 2.8%. When we look at the import side, especially then in Asia, the forecast overall is 2.7% per annum, and the fastest growth is expected to come from China with 5.3%, and Indonesia, for example, is growing almost on the average level with 2.6%. All others are growing less. So coming back to the supply side of the market, I have here a slide showing the scrapping of bulkers.